Today I want to discuss one of the challenge in clinical practice of endodontic, and that is this MB2 or what is called as the mesopalatal canal. Though this doesn't remain much challenge because of advent of the new gadgets used in endodontic clinical practice like CBCT, like magnifications, the dental operating microscope, dental loops. But these gadgets are not so commonly used, especially the CBCT and microscopes. And so that I believe that this somehow still remain a challenge. And before going to detailedly discuss the importance and the MB2 canal and so the role in terms of success of the root canal treatment outcome, so I want to share a case. A patient visited to my clinic, that a 50-year-old patient, and with a history of a pain in tooth number 26, that is the left maxillary first molar. So when I inspect the tooth, it was tender to percussion, and it was heavily filled with composite restoration. So as the history of the dental history especially told me that he got the root canal treatment 3 years back, and now he felt the pain for a few days ago, and tooth was tender. Then I took the radiograph, and this was the radiograph of the patient. And you can, what I observed that this three canals are filled, and the coronal restoration is better. It seems good, and whereas some found the radiolucency around the mesial root, here it is radiolucency around this mesial root, and this was visible on this radiograph. But the mesiobuccal root was superimposed, especially its filling with superimposed with the palatal canal. So I took another view and bit angulated view, and is a little bit exposing the mesobuccal canal, but it is still even not so clear. So I repeat the X-ray at more angulated view, and here it is more visible mesobuccal root. So I found the mesobuccal root or canal is filled properly. As you can see here, in terms of the length, it is fully filled, and there's no any obvious voids and space. So it was filled properly. The rest of the canals, the palatal canals, also filled properly. Distal canal, the coronal restoration. Again, there is no any leakage or any space I found in this coronal restoration. So, but the mesobuccal root having this uh, radiolucency and tooth standard to percussion. So this radiolucency, so it what I suspected that is MB2 canal, which is actually the cause of this failure of root canal, and especially this radiolucency involving the mesial root. So my suspicion was that, it is the missing MB2 canal. The diagnosis was symptomatic apical periodontitis, failed root canal, and it is due to the MB2. That was my initial, uh, uh, my opinion and decision. What I decided to retreat, removing the coronal restoration and removing the root fillings, and exploration of MB2 canal. and then I decide to do it non-surgical retreatment and then restore it back. So this is the when I removed the coronal restoration and I explored, I found the MB2 canal here. So you can see this is MB2 canal, which was previously unfilled, and it was a source of the bacteria and all that, which caused the failure of the root canal. This is, you can see a main MB canal, mesobuccal canal, and you can see the location. It is and have a groove here, which connecting these two canals. That is actually even guiding that if it is a groove uh, at the main canal and it's going to palatally, that indicates there could be another canal. So I negotiated this canal and filled it. After filling and doing negotiation and debridement and disinfection and with the intracanal medicaments, all the symptoms of the patients have gone, and patients are much relieved from the symptoms. So finally, the tooth was restored back with the composite restoration. And here you can see the same tooth. And now this is a mesobuccal root again. And you can see both canals here are filled properly. This is the main canal, mesobuccal. This is the mesobuccal canal. This is the MB2 canal. And this is the main canal. So that is the these canals are filled properly, and the restoration, coronal restoration was done again, and the symptoms you have is the patients become relieved from the symptoms. So this was the, what I want to highlight here, the importance of the mesobuccal canal in terms of the failure and the success of the root canal treatment. So let me discuss some about this MB2 canal. That is again, it is called at mesopalatal canal. One is the mesobuccal canal, another is the mesopalatal canal, or it is commonly known as MB2. In literature, it was reported that first it was reported by Hayes, which was some general practitioner dentist in 1925. That is, he reported that there is an extra canal in the mesobuccal root of the maxillary first molar. Incidence or prevalence of this is different. Study quoted different. Generally, it is 50 to 60%. The different studies which have been done in vitro with sectioning of the tooth and found that the population different. Population have a different rate. In our population, there's no any authentic data available, but generally it's believed in the clinical practice 50 to 60% you may find the mesobuccal canal. But with the use of CBCT, which is now it's become more popular day by day. So this CBCT, when you use it, 95%, what the different studies have a different, but up to 95% you can say with the CBCT proper use that you can find the MB2 canal. Now this is a much high percentage which is with the CBCT, and truly speaking, in during practice we don't have this 95% we MP2 canal in our practice. Hardly few percent you can say, because we are not using these gadgets. I think so. But failure rate due to the MB2 is again a question. If it is a high percentage of MB2 is present, but at that percent we can't explore it, we can't find it, we don't treat it, but but the failure is not so high. it's one reason could be that it's sometimes so small or with different configuration like type 2 configuration, having two orifices, but it could be sharing a one common exit with the main mesobuccal canal. So, if you preparing properly the main mesobuccal canal, possible that the, there will be no failure, but failure may occur anytime. That is importantly, it should be explored, and it should be uh, treated and filled as main buccal canal. That is more important. Now, with again in the literature, the failure of the root canal due to the missed canals is second most highest, you can say, cause of the failure of root canal, and it is with the 42%, you can say. But when you can see here in a maxillary molar, this percentage failure goes up to the 50%. Uh, so 50%, if the maxillary fail, root canal fail in maxillary molar, it is due to the missing uh, canals. And out of this, 95% in mesobuccal root. So if there are the three roots, distal, palatal, and mesobuccal, so mostly maxillary molars failed, and failure is mesobuccal root. And so because obviously we're discussing this MB2 canal, which is present in the mesobuccal root. Apart from this mesobuccal MB2, there is some anatomy even. As you know, the palatal root is wider canal you find and much straighter. There is some curvature buccally at the end of the root in the palatal root, but usually it is easy to negotiate the palatal root and fill it properly. Again, obturation of the palatal root and disinfection is not a big task. And same as the distal root as well as again, and not so uh, in terms of the anatomy, it's not so difficult. But in a mesobuccal root, you can see much curvature, or their root are usually curved mesobuccal roots, and this make the and the instrumentation, even the access cavity you are making, mostly the mesobuccal root are lying under the tip of the mesobuccal cusp tip, and with this indirect vision which must be used, and the when you use the instruments, there is some, instrument deflection touching the mesobuccal cusp. So it's because it's so at the corner. So deflection of the uh, your file make this negotiation and disinfection and debridement of the canal bit difficult. The fracture of the instruments also more common in the mesobuccal root because of this problem. So the mesobuccal root, the failure of the root canal is more common in mesobuccal root of maxillary molars, and one of the causes is missing MP2 canal. Now there are some clinical tips and some how we detect it and how we locate it. It is important now that MB2 should be located, should be detected, should be treated, filled, because it at any time it will cause your all the your job, spoil the job, your hard work, because ultimately it will fail. So it is better to do this job earlier. So one of the distance where is located, that is important, then you must explore it, because once you make the access cavity, when you open the maxillary first molar, mostly it's a triangular shape access cavity with the mesobuccal corner and the distal and the palatal one. It is the MB2 is not visible initially because it is bit covered with some dentine over it. Okay, so you need to explore it. So distance you can see, and location as here you can see in this here. This is the mesobuccal canal, main canal, and this is the MB2 canal. This is the palatal canal, and this is your distal canal. So this make this what they call the molar triangle. As these lines, even the lines are present here, and the grooves which here this. Now this, if you location wise, it is present somehow mesially and palatally to the main mesobuccal canal. This distance from the main mesobuccal canal 1 and MB2 here, it is variable, but it is range from 1.5 mm to uh, uh, 3 mm, up to 3 mm, maximum 3 mm, or 1.5 to 2.5 mm palatally. And same line, if you draw the line from the main mesobuccal canal to the palatal canal, so it is available in the same little bit mesially to this line. This distance, what in the literature said that in male it is much far away from the main mesobuccal canal, and in female it is more close to the main mesobuccal canal, or MB1. Okay, so this is, as I told you, the most, it is not visible initially when you open the, sometimes it's, but mostly it is not visible. So you have to remove the dentine over it and expose it, and then it is a clear one. So the cloyas, how we suspected that there is a chances of the MB2 present. So one of that, this, if it is close to the main canal, MB1 canal, to the buccal wall at the more corner level, then there could be chances there could be MB2 is present. So here you can see this is canal. If it is more buccal side, and it is more at the buccal wall and at the corner, then it indicate there could be a MB2 canal. But even what I want to tell you that you must always must explore or for this canal, and with some magnification, if it is available, it is better that you detect it and find it and fill it. So role of CBCT is much important nowadays in endodontics, and especially in these cases, when especially when the case is failed, and you want to know what could be the cause of the failure, the CBCT is very helpful for you. And this is voxel size. It is 0.125 mm to 0.200 mm. As you know, the voxel size are used for different, uh, uh, tissues. So for the uh, anatomy of the dental anatomy, if you want to read the dental anatomy on CBCT, internal anatomy of canals and the roots and all, so this voxel size is ideal size. So CBCT has a much role and is very helpful to detect the additional canals and other, you know, the anatomical complex anatomy of the root canals. For example, here you can see this case, which is again a failed root canal, and here the mesobuccal root, again a radiolucency. You can see this radiolucency and some root resorption of the mesobuccal root. Here you can see a resorption of what we call the external root resorption. It is failed and caused because the root canal is filled. And what could be the cause, which is not even this the conventional radiograph is not so helping to detect the additional or missing or extra canal. So here you can see same CBCT of same tooth with this axial view, or what called the longitudinal sectioning of tooth, which now you can see here uh, this canal which is present in this mesobuccal root, and this canal is untreated, and that is MB2 canal. So this is how your CBCT is helping to find it out that there is a canal which is untreated available in this root. And then here there's a coronal view of this same tooth, and this coronal view, this main canal is obturated, MB1 canal, but you can see here a line, a dark canal. Here you can see this MB2 canal in this is the mesobuccal root, which is a coronal section of this tooth, meso maxillary first molar. This is the mesobuccal root, and these are the two canal in mesobuccal root. One is the MB or main canal or mesobuccal canal, and one is the mesopalatal canal, or what we call MB2 canal. And this is the distal root. Distal root, you can see a location of distal root, and then the palatal root and the palatal canal. So this is the how this anatomy, internal anatomy is visible on the CBCT coronal section. And you can see a second molar here, but second molar, the chances of MB2 canal in second molar reduced. So second molar, it has some chance of the presence of the MB2 canal, but the chances are more less than the first maxillary molar. So as earlier I told you, the magnification is important to find these canals, missing canals, and endodontic, in endodontics, the dental operating microscope is used and is recommended to use, especially in surgery or even non-surgical retreatment cases. But as I told you, these type of gadgets are not so common in clinical practice, especially in our scenario. So, but it is very helpful. It is very helpful. And second, what we have dental loops. That is more common nowadays. We are using these for clinical practice, and these dental loops even are helpful, very helpful, because the dental operating microscope, you need much practice to become more master on using this dental operating. What a literature said, it at least takes 3 years practice, and then you become very much expert using this dental operating microscope. But it should be used, and when you use, it makes the difference. So that, but if you don't have that, you must have the dental loops at least. That is the more cheaper than the dental operating microscope, and more commonly available. So that again, as they are better than simple naked eye. So here you can see a magnification with magnified view. It is make the things more visible. And this darkness, the grooves, just I told you, and more darker area here, sorry, here, that is indicating that the canal is present. So that then make your job easier. So after that magnification, when you see all the and your CBCT or radiograph, then it's just to how to explore it. Just I told you that when it is not simply visible, it just covered a little bit with the dentine. So you need to remove the dentine. That should be under magnification is important. And the removal of that dentine is most, this ultrasonic tips are very effective and efficient and less damaging to the, because this area, if you use the burrs, that may damage your floor of the chamber, and sometimes very catastrophic damage may lead to the perforation in a furcal area or in a gingival area. So that is more, because it's you the again the it is more mesially present to the main mesobuccal canal, and you can see there is a depression or the groove at the mesial side of the mesobuccal root. So sometimes this burr can go in that area and may perforate the periodontium, and that is very damaging effect. So avoid the use of the burr. So these ultrasonic tips are very effective, and again they are commonly available and can be used. And there are different even use of these tips in endodontics. So one of that this use also you can uh, explore the MB2 canals. If you don't have this, then the bar. So bar, it should be small, round bar, zero point 0.5 mm or less than 0.5 mm. Small headed round bar can be used, and you can see here these round bars. Very cautiously you use these, and so that I told you that they can damage your floor and can cause a perforation into that. That's very big. Or this molar burr can be used, a long shanked burr here again around, and that can be used in a slow speed handpiece. That's more safer than high speed handpiece. And this long shake that can be easily with indirect vision, you can use this molar burr to just remove the dentine and just open the mouth of the MB2 canal. That is can be effective tool. So when you remove, sometimes if it is inflamed, if it is there some exudate or some pus or some discharge or blood even ooze out from the canal, and that will indicate again the canal is opened. And when you have to irrigate it with sodium hypochlorite, and then use a small uh, uh, files, hand files like your number 6, number 8, or number 10 file. Use these files to remove the to explore, to negotiate, to make the path into the canal, and with the hypochlorite, and then you can finish the job more easily under this magnifications and all that. So this is something about this MB2 canal. As we summarize our this, that it is important in terms of success or failure. If it is missed, it may cause the failure. If it is treated, of course the success rate will be high. So don't miss it. It takes more time even with practice, no doubt. But but when it is fails, it causes the embarrassment to you and your patient. So it is better to spend some time to explore it. And if you properly follow these rule, if you have some knowledge about the anatomy, and if you have gadgets, at least dental loops, and if you don't have CBCT, you can take a different view of your radiograph, conventional, which is available, periapical radiograph. Just take a different views, that will become more helpful for you. So this is all for today. Thank you so much.